Hi, Joe Cerrone, and welcome to our CAD 134 weekly Zoom meeting. As we look through the final classes for this course, in the upcoming events, we have a practice exam for the final, which will be available next week. And it'll be very similar to what we did on the midterm. It's basically a recap of the material we covered and the questions from the end of the chapters. And then chapter 12 deals with creating presentation style drawings. And so if we were to look at chapter 12, really it just comes down to these working with these viewports. And this is kind of the area right here, this exercise 12-2 that you'll want to incorporate. And if you don't have the drawing for the electrical ceiling plan, you can just use something else. But let's put together 4 viewport tabs or 4 layout tabs with some individual information on it, and try to make it sort of presentation quality. You know, you can always bring in some other content from some of your other drawings of maybe those conference rooms and things like that. But overall, you know, this exercise works pretty well. We draw up the floor plan, calculate out the areas, we dimension it, and then we insert the furniture with the blocks and attributes. And then you can have another one without any dimension and without any blocks and attributes. And you can also have other data and information. But it's just a good exercise to kind of wrap things up. And I'll oftentimes use presentation quality drawings to ask for money and upgrades, because we do that quite a bit in the college business where we want to get our lab space updated. So with that, there's not a lot left in chapter 12. Chapter 12 is basically creating additional layout tabs, and then they'll use these viewport layering techniques to do that. I pulled up an older drawing. I was hoping to find the one I did last week, but I did not save it. But what we did was we came here, right mouse clicked, and then we said new layout. And then what you can do is you can create a new layout. Actually, I wanted to make a copy of it. So new layout, oops, let's try that. Let's say move or copy. And then what we can do is we can just create a copy of this one, move it to the end and hit OK. And then if you come down here to the end, you can have a view of the same object, but you can also take that, and with these viewports, you can scale them, double click in the viewport. Make sure you do set the scales, try to be consistent. So we'll dial this down to a spot that it works for us. Double click outside of it, and then you can copy viewports just like you were copying any other type of geometry. Sorry, I've got a toolbar that's popping up from my Zoom meeting in front of my mouse. And then once you have that information, so for example, here, I could come in here and then I can click on something and say, okay, that's on layer I furniture. And so I don't want to see that in the current viewport. And so I go to that I furniture layer and I freeze that information in that viewport. And so that's how we'll use viewport layering. I would probably also come in here and move this over to my cabinet detail, you know, put a cabinet detail in there. I might have to redo the dimensioning because it seems to be pretty small. Let's see if it's on a different layer. No, maybe yes. So we can go and turn off this dimension layer in that viewport. There it goes. And so we can get that information kind of, it looks like I had a little bit of other information. You're welcome to model, you know, these, but they're not required. I know everybody's getting really busy with things picking back up, but that's where we're at. As far as other information, being able to extract the furniture totals, do the best you can. We understand there's been some problems with people working on the Mac computers. And so I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to try to troubleshoot that now. But just as a wrap up, and we look at what we're up to here, we're coming to a close. And so next week, chapter 12 will be due. That's what I was just demonstrating. If you need more time, that's fine. And I think what we were talking about was having the students present their drawings during the final exam week. And so we'll see if that still plays out when Al Rosen comes back. But be prepared for that in May if we put that out there. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording and open things up for questions.